concept of extraterrestrial life, and especially aliens, has been one of the most fascinating ideas in science fiction. Humanity has been searching for extraterrestrial life ever since we became a spacefaring civilization. But what if the aliens that are a center of attraction and hype are future versions of us? What if they are humans from millions of years in the future, so advanced that they travel back in time to visit us and explore our timeline? Seems like an interesting idea, right? But in this video, we will try to make it plausible too. Why is such a hypothesis a possibility? The great distances covered by these aliens might be the ones of time rather than space. Given the accelerating pace of advancement in science, technology, and engineering, it is likely possible that the humans of the distant future could develop the knowledge and machinery to return to the past. Unidentified flying objects have captured people's imagination and attention for the last few decades. As we are developing new methods of detecting exoplanets, why not consider them for visiting our Earth in their advanced aircrafts, right? Well, we already talked about the Fermi paradox in one of our videos and 3 possibilities why we haven't seen them. Make sure to check the link in the description. But the basic reasons might be that the method of communication that we know and use is the electromagnetic waves, which have the speed of light. Nothing can travel faster than that. Also, the space itself is expanding, so trying to communicate at large distances and even visit them is very hard for us, unless we have any advanced means of traveling like warp drives. But one of these UFOs might be us from the future that have mastered these advanced undertakings of space, time, and technology. Perhaps those reports of people making contact with strange beings represent our future generation trying to study their own evolutionary past. Life as we know it is hard to find outside of Earth. We are still trying to study a lot of exoplanets to find life there, and we might even find them by the end of the century. But there's another question. Will it be intelligent like us? Finding intelligent life is incredibly hard. We might even find microbial life on Mars or Europa, but they won't be intelligent. And upon that, the evolution makes the story more complex. We still don't know how life originated on Earth and how it evolved. We are still trying to solve that puzzle. So these constraints might apply to other places too. So finding life outside of Earth is hard as of now. But what about our descendants, millions of years into the future, who would have solved some of the most complex problems of space and time and want to study their evolution like we want to our evolution? They might travel back into the past and study us. That seems more plausible than finding life in distant parts of the universe whose light cannot even reach us. Human evolution has been a fascinating topic for a lot of people and scientists. There is a lot of research going on to understand more and more about the origin of life and its evolution. But we do have a basic understanding of how it has progressed. There have always been long-term evolutionary changes in humans. Initially, we were quadrupedal, which means that we used 4 legs to walk. But then something unique happened between 6 to 8 million years ago. We stood up and became bipedal, that is, we started moving on 2 legs. This is what separated us from most of the other species of the planet. Because of this evolution, a number of cranial changes occurred. The most important one was the flexing of the basic cranium of our skull, which gave more space to our brain for growing and developing. If we take this kind of evolution into account and project it into the future, we might see more changes in our facial structures. A lot of UFO encountered tenants describe the aliens as bipedal, human-like beings with a large brain, large eyes, etc. So it's a good possibility that these aliens might be us from the future that have these evolved characteristic traits. These future humans might visit us to learn more about their evolution. It's easy to conceptualize just how much could be learned about our own evolution if we currently possess the technology to visit our past. And that said, if our future selves acquire such technology, it might open doors of tourism for them too. Undoubtedly, in the future, people might pay a lot of money to go back in time and observe different timelines. This might sound interesting, right? But why would our descendants go back in time and visit and observe us? What exactly will we have to offer to them? So when we are talking about these future humans, One thing to know is they might be thousands of years from the future. The rate at which our technology is changing is very fast. It's hard to keep up with it. Just take the example of how our phones have changed over the past few years only. New software, new updates, and even new types of AI. In this rapidly changing environment, even the best archives and storage systems cannot keep up with the amount of data being produced. We ourselves don't know much about our ancestors from thousands of years ago. We don't even know much about our grandfathers and how their era was, because most of it is lost, and obviously they didn't have much technology too. But today, even with technology, we cannot store everything. Data loss is happening and will continue to happen. Even if we go 100 years ago to find data, it's hard, especially with wars. We are constantly blowing up archives, buildings, monuments, historical landmarks. It's very possible that these things might not survive. We already had 2 world wars in the last century. We're having small and proxy wars right now. Then there's things like pandemics and biowarfare. These are all not only threats to data, but also humanity. And then there's the biological data too, and the evolution knowledge that we have to offer to these future humans. But then this hypothesis doesn't rule out the possibility of finding life outside of Earth, like the extraterrestrial life. Our universe is so vast, but we still have found no trace of life on another planet or even traces of microbial life. In this universe, we have a lot of galaxies very similar to the Milky Way, and they might have a solar system similar to ours. And some of these stars might have planets like our Earth, just like Kepler 432b, which is very similar to Earth and even has water. Search for Extraterrestrial Life, or SETI, is an organization dedicated to finding evidence of life in other places of our universe. Another organization, METI, is a fairly new project which is known as Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Its main objective is to send messages to extraterrestrial beings and try to make contact with them. So we humans are already trying to search and make contact if there are any intelligent beings out there. But then there's the bottlenecks of civilizations, the filters that might prevent civilizations from advancing, like the asteroid impact on dinosaurs. Nuclear wars and biowarfare might also finish a civilization. But still, considering the vastness of our universe, civilizations might still make it to the top, so there are a lot of things to consider. We already have some cool videos related to these topics. Make sure to check them out in the description. Life can form anywhere. The main question is whether it is intelligent or not. Life started as a single cell on Earth 3.7 billion years ago. Life might form in other places too, but will they be intelligent? Also, it might be unlikely that they are bipedal because they would have to have nearly the same gravity like us. We already suffer from the perils of being bipedal. We suffer from things like herniated discs, bad knees, bad necks, etc. These things are negative results of being bipedal. This is because of the specific gravity of Earth. If the gravity would have been more, we wouldn't be bipedal. So if we use this to explain the UFO phenomena and encounters here on Earth, it's plausible that these aliens might be us from the future. But there is an important part of the hypothesis we haven't discussed until now: time travel. Time travel is a very popular topic both for scientists and science fiction. In this hypothesis, we have already assumed that in the future we might be able to travel to the past. Also, we recently made an interesting video on this topic. Check that out too. But the basic idea behind time travel is to travel in a different timeline. Generally, many scientists believe that it is not possible because paradoxes are involved in it. The most general idea is traveling in the past through wormholes. Einstein's general relativity permits the idea of wormholes, but time travel is very hard with our technology and understanding the laws of nature. We still need to learn a whole lot more about it. But since we are talking about the future humans, millions of years into the future, we give them the benefit of the doubt in this hypothesis. The hypothesis that the aliens might be us from the future is very interesting. A lot of you guys might have read books and articles on UFOlogy, but this hypothesis makes sense in some ways. We as humans today believe that evolution ended here and we are done. But that's not the case, right? Normally, people believe we live in an annihilist society where global warming or nuclear warfare might wipe us out. But if we look at the long-term evolution, assuming we live that long, and this is a topic for another video, we might look very different from what we look like presently. We don't postulate the fact that Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Neanderthals look very different from us millions of years ago. And if we take this and project this evolution in the future, things might be different. Our characteristics might be different. So with that, we rest the arguments of this hypothesis. What do you guys think about this hypothesis after seeing the video? It might make sense to some and might be outrageous for some, but it's an interesting fact. One of these encounters, assuming they are true, are actually us from the future since they have so much in common. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel and press the bell notification to remain notified of more amazing videos like this. Thanks.